let's talk about the sort of the technical side of it. There's a few factors involved. First of all, Google wants websites to load very, very quickly. One of their objectives is that they want you to go from the search page to the website in the minimum number of seconds. If it takes too long, then you'll think, well, that's not very good, and you'll look for someone else. And their concern is that you'll blame Google because Google's given you a bad site to visit. It's their fault because it's taken too long to open rather than it being the actual website's fault. So they don't like listing websites that are slow. They also want mobile friendly. Now, Google does take the view that more people are using mobile than desktops. I think their data is 55 or 60% of people use mobiles now. We find for our customers, actually, depending on whether they're domestic or commercial, if they're domestic focused, about 60% is desktop or laptop and about 40% is mobile. If they're aimed more at the commercial market, then the mobile use drops a bit further down to about 30%. So we sort of take the view desktop is more important than mobile, but Google takes the opposite view. Mobile is more important because they're looking for, or they're talking about every single company. So the person, out and about looking for a restaurant, looking for directions or whatever it may be. A lot more people are using mobile for their searches. So therefore your website has to rank well on, has to look good on mobile and be easy to use for them to rank you well. You also need what's known as an SSL certificate, which is the security certificate at the top. Let me just show you what that is, just in case there's any questions on it. So if I come back to, where's that something before? There we go. This little padlock here. Your website should show one of those. We still come across sites that don't have them, but really these days, every site should have one. They're free. Whoever's hosting your website can give you one. So do make sure it has that. It's important not to have any broken links. So if someone clicks on a link to, say, a CCTV page and it then comes up with an error, this page cannot be found, that really, really harms your search ranking because it's spotted. You've got to remember that the Google, they used to call them spiders, would sort of go through a website, looking at all the different pages, clicking on all the links, trying everything out, and they'll soon find if anything doesn't work. So it's important to double check there are no errors with your website. A good layout and a good user experience are key factors in sort of the technical side of search ranking. So people need to be able to find their way through a site. Google wants people to be on your site for a period of time. They don't want them to come to your website and then leave it after 30 seconds because it's a poor user experience. They can't find their way around. They want them to go to your website and it be the right result and then stay on there. If you think about it from the perspective of what they're trying to achieve, if someone searches for something, goes to their search page, the first link they click on takes them to the exact answer they want, then the person doing the searching is happy and will use Google again. And therefore Google is happy because they'll use them again. And eventually they'll click on an advert and they'll make some money. So a good layout, a good user experience is very important and really does help the search ranking. And also linking between pages helps because it, as I mentioned before, on the on-page side of things, it shows what's important, what really matters. A couple of tools we use to look at loading speed and whether a site is mobile friendly or not. I'll just show you how they work. This one is free. It's called GT Metrics. We have a paid account for it, but you can do it for free. So I just ran through. It does take a minute or two to work. So I did run that ProTech site through, and what it's looking for is how quickly an image starts to appear and how quickly a site is loaded completely. So this one scores a little bit badly because 3 seconds before what they call largest contentful paint, i.e. when we're starting to get the main image showing up on the site, and it's quite slow before the whole thing loads. This test is looking at it as though someone is using fast internet from say a PC, and therefore it's as good as it gets. When you slow the internet down and someone's on a mobile, it's going to take a lot longer. So always we're looking for the the quickest time, and personally it's around the 1 second mark is what we're trying to do there. 1 second, 3 seconds, doesn't matter if you've got fast internet connection, but if you're in the middle of nowhere on your mobile, 1 second suddenly becomes 10 seconds, and 3 seconds becomes 30 seconds. And if you're standing there looking at your phone waiting for the website to arrive, you're going to close it and go somewhere else. You can look at something different. So speed matters when the internet isn't quite so good. There's also a simple mobile friendly test that Google do. These links, we'll share them with you, so you don't have to worry about trying to make a note of all of them. But you literally put your website URL in there in Google's mobile friendly test, and then you click on the run. And I've pre-done this because, again, it takes a little while to do. And you get a tick if the website is mobile friendly, and it will just show you what the mobile site looks like. So it's worth running GTmetrix and mobile friendly sites on tests on your website to be sure that everything is working okay there. Coming back to the site layout, user experience. This is key in two areas. One is it's got to work for search engines. Two is it's got to work for people. We typically go with a layout like this. So we're always thinking about the kind of the customer journey. Somebody arrives typically on a home page. First thing is they're interested in knowing what you do. Do you do what they want? Then they may want to have a look at what you've done in the past for others, possibly where you've done it. They may have a look at some news articles, what you've written about. And before they contact you, they probably want to know a bit more about your company, who you are, what you do, what your accreditations are, etc. And then they're ready to contact you. So people tend not to come to the homepage and then contact straight away. They tend to, move through. So we like to give them a sort of a progression through the site from left to right in the way that we read as they go across the website. In terms of what to actually have on the pages, though, you need to have one for each key service. But be careful not to have too many. There's some sites we come across that will have 12, 15, 20 service pages because they're trying to rank for every single thing. But for a person, it becomes too confusing. There's just too much choice there. There's no point if lots of people come to the website, but no one contacts you because it's all too confusing. You need to get people to come to the website, but then they've actually got to make an inquiry afterwards. So keeping the services simple helps. Case studies, particularly if you're aimed at a business to business, if you're looking for commercial customers, to show some examples of what you've done in the past. If you're doing burglar alarms for homeowners, doesn't really matter because they're more concerned that you're local and that you've had some good reviews, etc. But if you're doing a big access control system for a school, they probably want to see what you've done for some others. Location pages are really aimed at search results. So we're targeting places in location pages. We're not really aiming these at people. Yes, somebody might read through it, but these are really aimed at search results. So we had a page for a company like this, a fire and security company aimed at Leeds. In there, we're going to be talking about fire alarms, CCTV, access control, and so on. We're going to have a section for each of those. It's going to be quite a long page, and it's going to mention Leeds a number of times throughout, along with the different services provided. News can be literally anything. The longer, the more detailed, the better. And within the about section, within the about section, we tend to suggest breaking it into company information, possibly accreditations, and then if you're looking to recruit, having a careers page there as well. So that sort of layout works quite well because it's simple and therefore it appeals to people. It appeals to Google because there's an easy navigation between the pages. You can come to the menu and here's all the options. And then the pages link to each other. So you might have a case study here about a fire alarm installation, which then links back to here. Maybe it links over to one of the news articles as well. Maybe it links over to some information about the company. So it all works together. All these different pages are feeding into each other and helping each other. And that really will help no end with the search ranking. The next thing to mention on the technical side of SEO is what's called schema markup. Schema is structured data that helps search engines to understand the information on your website. So things like your company logo, your name, your website URL, company address, phone number, social media, and so on. It's all within the code of the website, but Google can look in there and they can see all this information in one place, easily accessible, and they can understand a bit more about your business and a bit more about your site and who you are and so on. There are some tools that we use that will make it easy to test what's there. There's one which is called a rich results test, which I'll show you in a second, and another that shows your schema markup. So if I just come back to my browser. So rather than keep picking on that company Protag, I've done this one based on our own website. So this is the rich results test. And all you do is you put your website URL in there, you click on the run button, I think you just press return actually. And then after it's finished, and it takes a couple of minutes again, if you click on preview results, what it does is show you that based on the sort of the code within that page, this is how Google understands it to appear. So here's the title, here's the text. Google can read it, it can find our logo here, it can find the URL. As far as Google's concerned, it gets a tick because it sort of meets their requirements. Schema is a little bit different. This sort of checker, I'll share again. Schema is within the code of the website, and you can find it by looking at the code of your website. And there's things like down here, we've got all the social media links for our company. We've got a link to our logo. There's our phone number. It's a bit tricky to find it, but if you go to this schema checker under, in our case, professional service, it will show everything we've got listed. So here are all our social medias. There's our opening hours, phone number, company name. Down here, we've got the address, telephone, etc. So this is all in the code. This is not shown on the website. It's all in the code. And Google is using it as a reference that you are who you say you are, that all these details are all correct. So it needs to be part of your website. And the easiest way of checking if it's been done already or not when the website was built is to go to this schema validator and put your URL in there, and it will tell you if it's been done or not. As I mentioned, I'll share all these links with you, but a lot of these tools, we use them ourselves as a very quick way of understanding what's going on. Where are the initial problems? We have other tools we use that are, they're expensive, that run to hundreds or even thousands of pounds a month for more in-depth SEO analysis. But these are all free things that you can do very quickly and have a quick check on what's going on. And if something needs to be done, a lot of the time you can do it yourself rather than needing to pay somebody else to sort it out for you.